To us, existing seems like an obvious point, because if we didn't exist, we would not be experiencing, living, and watching this video. But what if our very existence is not as certain as we think? To start, let's give a basic definition to the concept of reality itself. We can define reality as anything that is real or anything that physically exists in the universe. Reality is in opposition to imaginary. There are other definitions for reality, but this is the one that we shall use. So if we existed in an imaginary, processed, or simulated state, this would mean that we do not exist in a real world. Picture an NPC, a non-playable character in a video game. While they are visible on a screen in a computer and can interact with their surroundings, they do not exist in the real world. So let's go through several scenarios where we would not exist in the real world. The first is an unlikely, but nonetheless interesting thought experiment. Could reality as we know it be a dream state? If one is dreaming, you generally don't notice you are, and you don't question any of the strange aspects of such a dreamlike reality. The idea has existed since ancient times. In the 3rd century BC, a book was publishing detailing a philosopher called Shang Zhao, dreaming he was a butterfly before waking up. He then asks himself, was Shang Zhao dreaming of a butterfly, or was a butterfly dreaming of Shang Zhao? However, one refutation comes from Norman Malcolm, an American philosopher who states that dreams must exist dependently with the waking world. So we may notice signs from the waking world that we are dreaming, such as sensory input and outside memories. A more coherent and well-formed argument against us existing in reality is the simulation hypothesis. The idea that we are simulations in an advanced artificial construct. The idea is that a computer world would simulate reality, which could be as simple as simulating a singular person's point of view or an entire virtual world. Nick Bostrom, a Swedish philosopher involved in artificial intelligence research, made a popular argument for the simulation hypothesis, which outlines 3 possible ideas. 1. That in the universe, the amount of advanced civilizations which have reached a point of technological level where they can run advanced simulations is 0. 2. That the amount of civilizations that reach technological levels capable of running simulations but are not interested in doing so is 0. Or 3. That the chance that we are living in a simulation is very close to 100%. The reasoning behind Bostrom's argument is that future civilizations, assuming we do not regress or go extinct, will have enormous computational abilities. It is unlikely that they will choose to never run a simulation. If we end up simulating billions and billions of simulations, or even vastly more, then what are the chances that of those billions of indistinguishable from reality simulations, that we are living in the real reality? The simulation hypothesis is such an in-depth topic that it deserves its own video, but as a high-level overview, some of the reasons why a civilization may run a simulation could be as follows. It could be a form of time travel, to simulate the past for external visitors. It could be for scientific purposes. It could be to entertain vastly powerful minds in a kind of simulation game. Or it could be for a vast number of other reasons. This could potentially be a testable theory in the future, as we could test for limits to the computational availability of the simulators. This could be done by testing whether space-time is broken down into discrete points, which would hint at a limit to the computational limits of the simulators, and as potential evidence of the nature of our universe. Finally, there is another theory so bizarre about whether we exist that involves the end of the universe and what comes before and after it. Some physicists speculate that impossibly rare combinations of particles can occur in extremely long time periods. For example, all the air in a room will aggregate to one corner of the room given an infinite timescale. Also, given a long enough timescale, a computer may form out of the void from random particles joining together. Even a brain which imagines reality as we know it could form. This random brain forming out of the void is called a Bostrom brain, and it consists of an object capable of imagining reality. In the infinite void of space, given an infinite timeline, a vastly greater number of these brains will form than the number of real minds living in the here and now, as in reality. Because of this, probability states that we are more likely to be living in the void as a Bostrom brain than existing now. However, this theory is unfalsifiable, and it also relies on our universe not being simulated in the first place by a computer. So, do we exist? The answer is not as clear as it seems, but in most of the cases outlined above, Knowing whether we do or do not does not make a great deal of difference in our everyday lives. As Douglas Adams, author of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, states, there is a theory which states that if ever anybody discovers exactly what the universe is for and why it is here, it will instantly disappear and be replaced by something even more bizarre and inexplicable. There is another theory which states that this has already happened. So until next time, thanks for watching.